What's up, everybody? Hit like, subscribe. This may be my last watch review for a while. I told you I've kind of rounded out my collection with this bad boy, the Live Rebel AR in the Le Mans dial. Absolutely fantastic automatic watch. We're going to play with different straps and stuff like that, but loving this. But I had already one more on order. And I heard so much hype about these things. I just wanted to see what they're about. So I'm going to give a brutal, honest review if I like it and if I feel it's worth $270. I think the answer is going to be yes and no. I don't know. We're going to find out. It is the Omega collaboration with Swatch. If you don't know, Swatch owns Omega and Longines and Rado and a lot of the biggest brands. Let's see. What brands does Swatch own? Let's see. Swatch owns Blancpain, Breguet, Certina, Glashut Original, Hamilton, oh cool, Henry Winston, Longines, Mito, Omega, Rado, Tissot. They've got, it's the largest watch company in the world. So Swatch is a real player. You look at their history, they had the cheap plastic watches that were like novelties, but they were fun. They made watches fun. They were cheap, they're inexpensive. They are Swiss, but you're not getting a Breitling, right? So most of their watches are in the $50 to $100-ish range, and then they have some that are a little bit higher. These ones are at $270. For a while, these were going double and triple of MSRP because they were looked at as like collector watches and like Beanie Babies and whatever other dumb things have gone on over the years. People went berserk over these things and were gobbling them up, and it was like early iPhone type stuff where people would be camped out for days in a line, hundreds and hundreds of people at the Swatch stores waiting to get their hands on these. Well, now you can actually get your hands on them. So I ordered this directly from Swatch's website. Now they've got all these different models, different color combinations. This is the Mission to the Moon, I believe. It's just the basic one. They've only got 3 or 4 on their website. The other ones are hit or miss, and you have to get them in the store. I am going to try to take care of this in the box because I have a feeling, I'm not going to wear this that much. I have a feeling this might be worth some money someday. Just like action figures and other dumb shit. I'm like, you know what? For $270, let's get one and see if we like it, do a review for the channel, and let's see, what happens over time. So let's unbox it. You've got your little manual here that's probably in a shit ton of different languages, folds out like an old Rand McNally roadmap. Yes, I'm old enough to have used those. All right. What's in the box? We have a little Swatch brochure, Mission to Saturn. It goes over all the different models that you can collect, just like Happy Meals or Beanie Babies or action figures. Or remember those Star Wars glasses you used to get at Burger King and stuff? Those things are worth a freaking fortune now. Packaging's pretty not impressive. It's all just cardboard, and they can say, well, we're doing that to, keep the cost down and good for the environment. It's a $270 watch, dude. Maybe give us a little bit more. Anyway, put that down in there. Well, the first thing I noticed, this doesn't weigh anything. It is extremely light. Someone's going to say, if it's a collection, don't take the thing off. You'll scratch the glass. Yeah, I mean, I may wear it here and there. I can always put that back on if I'm careful. Well, it's plastic. They call it bioceramic, which sounds like ceramic, and you think, ooh, high tech, tough as nails, can survive outer space and extreme temperatures. It's some kind of ceramic infused plastic, like a lot of their watches. It may be tough for plastic, but I bet you I could probably break that fairly easily. It doesn't weigh anything. If you want to watch it, it sits on your wrist and don't weigh a thing. I mean, maybe that's the watch for you. It is a chronograph. It's 42 millimeters. The specs, it is the exact same dimensions and everything as the Omega Speedmaster. When you look at the dial here, you will see, oh, Speedmaster. So let's see. Stopwatch. Yeah, that works. Numbers line up well. And of course I get into a video, so of course the dogs start fucking barking. Hold on a second. Hey! Stupid dog. Anyway, hold on a second. Guys! Anyway, here's what we've got. Let's see. Pull. Yeah, pull it out. Set the time and all that stuff. What freaking time? Do we have a date on there anywhere? Goddamn dogs. I love dogs, but God, they're so annoying most of the time. Every time I'm trying to do something. I don't see any kind of date on here, so am I missing it? No. Just a chronograph, so we're going to set the time for 5:08. Push-pull seems fine. Water resistance is only 3 atmospheres, so not a whole lot. Hold on a second. Knock it off! Anyway, here we are. What the hell was I talking about? Yeah, I mean, what's there to say? It's a Swatch version of an Omega. The Omega is probably $6,000, which is why I don't have one. I would like one. They're beautiful watches. But I mean, it's neat for the novelty of it, but this is clearly not a hard use watch. This is not something that I think would be a daily driver. I think you would break it. I have heard of people saying, hey, some of the buttons popped off and things like that. And they got a warranty department, and Swatch seems to be pretty good about it. I'm kind of questioning the price tag. Honestly, for what it is, it's a novelty. It's a collaboration for people who like the Omega Speedmaster but don't want to spend $6,000 on one. And so, hey, you get the Swatch version, and Swatch owns them. So, hey, it seems like a match made in heaven kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's not worth $270. I went in thinking that was going to be the case, but I was like, well, I'll give it a chance. Maybe it'll be better than I thought. It does use a standard 20 mil lug width, just like the Speedmaster. So what I will probably do, just to make it, because this strap feels very, very cheap. And I realized why they couldn't do a metal version, because you'd be like, well, why would I buy the Omega? I could have this one because it says Omega on it. It's made by the company that owns Omega, and it's made in collaboration with Omega, but it's not a sapphire glass. That's probably some form of plexiglass. So I would imagine that's going to scratch pretty easily. It might be some other kind of crystal, but it's definitely not sapphire. And the strap just feels, it feels like a toy. I'm hoping I didn't waste $270 on this fucking thing. I'm going to put it on this strap. That'll make it the Bond strap, which actually goes perfectly with those colors. I think that will dress it up a little bit. But at the end of the day, you're still sitting here with a $270 watch that probably cost them all of $30 to make. And that includes the packaging and distribution and the movement and probably shipping. I'm not impressed. I'm going to put the NATO strap on it. I might wear it once or twice. I'm going to keep all this stuff here in the box and keep it nice and pristine. And, who knows, maybe someday these things will be worth something if I keep it in good shape. I'm obviously not buying a Swatch watch as an investment. So I'm not going to completely baby it. I might wear it here and there. It is fun. I mean, it's cool that you have that kind of watch, and Swatch has always been about just fun timepieces. I mean, they tell the time just like anything else. And they come in all kinds of crazy colors, and you can get Snoopy and, whatever kind of goofy things they have. That's kind of their shtick, is having just really interesting watches that you just have fun with, that you don't take too seriously. And they're not expensive. So if you have it for 3 or 4 years and you break it, you're like, oh, it's $55. I can just go and get another one. Not a big deal. So I think in that light, yeah, it's kind of cool. I think it would be better if it was like, even though it's got the Omega name on, I think they just marketed it well. These things were flying off the shelves. People were standing in line trying to get these things. And I'm kind of looking at it going, I don't really understand why. I'm glad I just waited and bought one right from their website later and didn't pay over MSRP and got free shipping and stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, this does not feel like a $270 or $270 watch. But it looks kind of nice. You get that to wear in a little bit on it. I mean, I don't know, it's okay. I think that if you're looking to spend $270 on a watch, there's probably 50 watches I would buy before I bought this. I would go in, actually that doesn't look half bad at all, honestly. That is kind of good. That looks nice on there. Adjust that and tweak it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I would probably, there's Seiko, there's Orient, there's lower end Tissot's, there's Citizens, like there's Casio G-Shocks. You get a nice G-Shock for that kind of money. So there's definitely things I would buy before I got this that would give you a much better movement. They would be steel. Some of them would be solar. They'd have at least 10 atmosphere water resistance instead of 3. This means if I'm out in the rain and I jump through a puddle, I'll probably be okay. That is about it. Maybe a splash in the sink. That is all you're going to get out of 3 atmospheres from something like this. It's not a push down crown of anything. It's absolutely minimal. It's neat for what it is. You got the history of the Omega. I mean, I've got the Bulova Lunar Pilot, so I've got a watch that actually has a bit of heritage and has been to the moon. Yes, it was only the second one to go to the moon. But hey, Bulova is a really cool company with some nice stuff and did a lot of the instrumentation and things like that on the lunar missions. And their watch was the second one to go to the moon when David Scott's Omega Speedmaster, the real one, broke. And he had his Bulova that he brought, his personal one, which is a prototype. So for that, I think it's a cool watch. I think it's a neat watch just to have if you want that style of watch and you can't afford a Omega Speedmaster. And right now I'm not doing that. But it is kind of cool to have something like that. And it is kind of cool that it's affordable. I just don't think it's worth $270. But I've wasted money on dumber shit than that. So maybe I'll wear it. Maybe I'll see how it holds up. And if it breaks, I'll report back and report back in a year and see how it holds up over time. I'm gonna go wet this just carefully so it kind of forms to that just a little bit more. It takes the shape of it, and yeah, what else can you say? It's a Swatch. It's an expensive Swatch. If it didn't have the Omega name on it, and it wasn't this limited edition kind of thing that they were trying to push to make their name relevant again, you'd probably spend $100, $120 on something like this. But they're going to charge 2.5 times that because Omega and all the hype. And I guess they did a good job with all the hype and the marketing because they couldn't make them fast enough. They were selling these things left and right. So that is the Swatch. A little close up there. It looks nice. Aesthetically, it's actually very well done. The casing, the molding is very precise. There's no edges that are wonky from like molding or casting or anything like that. Honestly, it's really the lightness. You feel it and it feels like a toy. And I think that's what actually hurts it more than anything, that there's just no weight to it. So when you pick this up, there's a lot of stainless steel here. It's got some mass. You know that it has real metal and it's tough. This, you're just like, I feel like I could just snap it in half. Now, whether you could, plastic tends to be fairly strong. Give it credit. With Glocks and, being plastic and Tupperware, and, they're tough as shit. They're actually, in some ways, harder to break than, aluminum or steel frames because, you try to bend the steel, or you put enough shock through it, it'll crack, whereas the plastic flexes. So it actually absorbs energy better. It's more resilient. So it may not be that flimsy. It's just because it's so light and you go, oh, it's plastic. It feels like it would be, but perception might not be reality. So there you have it. I really thought the Speedmaster had a date, but it's not. It's your moving seconds down here that correlates to the time. We'll do a loom check. And then you got your, I guess, minutes over here and or minutes and then minutes and seconds. No, seconds here, minutes, and then hours, I guess. I don't know. It's got some lume. It looks very nice. It honestly looks good. It just feels cheap because of the material. That's it. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. It's a freaking Moonswatch. If you like it, buy it. If not, I don't know that it's worth $270. But just to have one in your collection, knowing these will probably be discontinued at some point, maybe worth money. If you got the money to spend, go for it.